There's some controversy in the gaming world. I know, shocker, right? It's one of those things that we haven't seen anything like this pop up in a few years. The closest has been Nintendo and the Switch 2, and we'll kind of make that connection here in a second. What am I talking about? Well, it appears that Sony is doubling down on the fact that you do not own digital content. And we recently posted a YouTube short talking about this. I wanted to expand on this a little bit here. So essentially what has happened is that with the March 2026 update of the PlayStation 5, there's essentially a timer to how long you can play a digitally purchased and downloaded game before you have to check in on the internet again. The irony to this is, of course, the fact that Sony absolutely blasted Microsoft in 2013 with the launch of the Xbox One. See, originally with the Xbox One, you were supposed to have to check in once every day with that at that time, and you were required to have an Xbox Connect. It drove up the price, people didn't want it, it was just onerous. And one of those things that Sony made fun of them at is like how easy it was for you to share games between friends on the PlayStation 4. I don't know that that really hurt the Xbox One long term, but it didn't do it any favors out of the gate. Well, Sony is kind of copying that. So let me show you here. This is from a Twitter or an X account called MBG. I apologize, I've never heard of them. I'll have this link down below. But one of his viewers, or their viewers, contacted PlayStation support about the 30-day DRM update for the PS4 and PS5 games. The response they got made it sound like this is not a mistake or a bug, it's a feature. They described it as a technical feature. I didn't even read that, but that's funny. Sony has yet to officially respond to this, so thank you, and the name's redacted here, for your interest on the 30-day timer that is being applied to all new purchases. Now, the way they phrase that has me concerned, and I'll expand here in a moment. Affected content, games purchased digitally after the March 2026 update, offline functionality. If the console does not connect to the internet within 30 days, the license expires and the game may refuse to launch until a connection is restored. Primary console restrictions. Setting a console as primary does not bypass the 30-day requirement. The 30-day is a valid period and is not a sign that an account has been restricted or anything like that, to which this person responded, that's BS, and I firmly agree with that. Now, the concern that I have here is that it says that the 30-day timer is applied to all new purchases. Now, while it says later on, and I'll bring this up again so that we can go over this, it says that affected games purchased digitally. But the all new purchases, could that mean your physical games will also eventually require you to connect to the internet at least once a month to go ahead and verify the license? I understand and I don't. So part of what's going on here is the fact that, I mean, let's just be honest about it. People are pirating content more and more. They are doing more and more homebrew type stuff to these systems, and a lot of it is really exciting. I love the homebrew scene on the Wii and the Wii U and the 3DS. There's so much cool stuff you can do with that. Part of it, if you take a look at like how Nintendo has reacted to the MIG Flash or the MIG Switch, whatever you want to call it, like, it's a misinterpretation of copyright law. You are allowed to make legal backups of your software. Now, the manufacturers are not allowed to use any of the original code to basically bypass any security or things like that. So I think that's kind of where they've stood on their rights to go after MIG Flash and other similar type of devices. So with games getting more expensive, people are looking for more and more alternatives to get their hands on software, whether it's legal or piracy. So I'm sure part of that is they want to make sure that you are legally obtaining your games and playing, you know, an actual game that you bought and purchased. It also reminds me a bit of the Nintendo Switch and the Switch 2 with the virtual game cards, with the game key cards, and game cards in a box, or I'm sorry, game codes in a box. You know, where it's one of those that, well, Nintendo hasn't come out and outright said that they're going to do something like this where they're requiring you to be online once every 30 days to verify your purchase. You have to be online at least every once in a while to verify things like you have access to the Switch Online content, that you have the right primary system set for virtual game cards. There are so many things that Nintendo does to make it difficult to play offline for an extended period of time or to have multiple systems. You know, it used to be if you had one system or if you had multiple systems, you could play the same title as long as nobody else registered to that piece of software or on that account was also playing it. So for example, let's say that I had the digital version of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on my Switch OLED. My daughters could not go and play that same digital version on their Switch Lite. It would see that that's already in use and it would either kick me off or kick them off, one of the two. So there was some way that you could go ahead and kind of prevent abuse of that system, but now you basically have to like eject that virtual cartridge and lend it to another system for them to be able to play. It's a pain in the rear end, but it's one of those that it like I say, I understand, but it's still just crappy that they're verifying that you're playing one copy of one game in one instance at one time. Sony here, though, I mean, I'm not a litigious person. I think that's one of the problems with society in a lot of different ways is so many people are just like, let's sue! I can see this being a class action lawsuit. Also, if you needed a bigger slap on the face to tell you that you don't own any digital content, that's what this basically is doing. Sony is basically telling you that for you to verify your purchase, you have to log on once every 30 days. And I've seen people mocking those who are up in arms about this. I'm not up in arms, but I think this is really a bad move on Sony's part. Let me just be clear there. People that claim, well, you have an internet connection, of course. You have a PlayStation 5, so why not just pay your internet bill and go online? That's not the point. It's the fact that they are making you jump through these hoops for unnecessary reasons and to nobody's real benefit. Hackers and those involved in the homebrew community, they are super sharp. That's kind of one of the reasons why they do this. They do it to prove that they can do it. They do it as a hobby. They do it for fun. They do it to get past a challenge. And with this, it's one of those where they're going to embolden people to circumvent DRM and copyright protection and other protections on these systems. And it's really unnecessary. I mean, I would say it seems downright petty to me on Sony's part. Now, like I mentioned, with Nintendo, you still have these sorts of check-ins, and with Steam, you've got to do this type of thing too. But man, this just sucks. Like, someone once said, your data, your personal being is now the product. And it's such a bad take from Sony, and it's really onerous. And if they don't reverse course, it's going to really hurt not just gaming, it's going to hurt the PlayStation brand, it's going to hurt Sony, and it's going to really hurt the PlayStation 6 when that gets ready to come out if something like this is in there, especially if it's going to be like a Steam Deck or something like that where there's no physical media. Let me know what you think of this down below in the comment. Also, check out SpawnWave. He has a great video where he's walked you through, essentially he's removed the CMOS battery from a PlayStation 5, gone in and played a digital downloaded game, and because it couldn't verify the date and time, it kicked him out. It's just ridiculous. I don't know what we need to do to change it. I don't know if this is one of those things that, physical media, retro media is going to become more and more desirable because these restrictions are not there. The other thing I can see happening is systems like the Evercade really kind of becoming less of a niche and more popular because this doesn't require an internet connection. The game is on the cartridge. They're relatively inexpensive, $35 or less. There's multiple games on the cartridge as well. They're family friendly. They promote couch co-op on there. You can play up to 4 players depending on the game at any one time. It's kind of what the Intellivision Amico had promised to be, but didn't deliver on. So I love the Evercade, and I think this actually answers a lot of concerns that people have, and especially with their newer system that can run N64 games on it, I think you're going to see that ecosystem expand. I'd love to see them come out with a new home system. And in fact, games like Marvel Cosmic Invasion, like, don't need to be in 4K. 1080p is just fine. I mean, with the graphics and everything on Marvel Cosmic Invasion, it's not 16-bit, but it's not 32. It's somewhere in between. 28-bit, we'll call it. Let's call it 24-bit. Regardless, you know, you could make something like this look really good on something like an Evercade. And I would love to see them do it. Sony definitely stepped in it on this one. Now, if you do want to check out some of our other videos that we've done talking about like piracy, my position on it, DRM, and more, check out this video up here. We actually talked to a lawyer to get a whole lot of answers. I think it just proves Sony's in the wrong here.